This is a true story.
Virginia of two friends.
Ride that hog Thompson down the Route 69. If you love reality TV,
Pick to do a podcast. I was married, divorced,
watch every episode of The Real World.
and have the reactions taped.
Yankee Diddle ass went to town, I'll ride in on up. Find out what happens
when people stop being polite and start getting real. They used to call me Big T. Now I'm Iced T. This is Seven Strangers, a real world recap podcast.
Okay. Okay. And action. Hey, Corden fans. As promised, we are here live in studio on YouTube. Claudia just has black face on today. Just kidding. Clouds, my partner in podcasting, will be in a bit of a hiatus. She's taking a little bit of a break at the moment. She's a very busy lady. So in the meantime, I'll have random guests to help us and going over like this sweet young lady sitting next to me. She is a singer. She works for her community. She is also a grandma to her granddaughter. She also birthed me. It's Sylvia Jackson.
Hey, girl.
Hi.
I am so happy to see that I have some lipstick on my teeth.
But now it's
some
gone.
of Sophie's delicious enchiladas and
Sí, sí.
cilantro. Anyway, I'm happy to be here with my daughter.
Yes.
She's extremely magnificent and the greatest thing I've ever had come out of me.
Wow.
So, I'm blessed on all kind of levels. And the main thing is that I'm just feeling like privileged. Just a little pun. And and I'm also feeling very relieved to be away from everything I've been dealing with today, which is a lot. So it's good to be here. Thank you for having me, sweetie.
Perfect. Thank you for doing this for the pod. I appreciate you. And before we get into anything, we want to talk really quick because it's gonna come up about Bloody Sunday. So I'm gonna just kind of give you a little bit of facts, and then I want to kind of ask you about whatever.
Mhm.
So okay, so this occurred March 7th through March 25th, 1965 in Selma, Alabama. It was a peaceful protest that was for Blacks' right to vote in defiance of segregation, and also due to the death of, I think, Jimmy Jackson.
Not sure if that was his name.
It was Jimmy something.
Mhm.
And he was another peaceful protester got killed. And basically state troopers beat nonviolent protesters. Some of them were murdered. Amelia Boynton's image was publicized as she lay unconscious on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, which is a KKK member. And they still like that bridge is still named that. But this contributed to the passing of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which gave Black women the right to vote. 1965.
Was it just Black women or just Blacks?
Well, no, I mean, okay, in the South.
In the South. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But overall in the whole United States, Black women. But yes, in the South was different.
Got it.
So do you you were like what, 5?
I was 5, exactly.
Yeah.
5. So I remember 0 as far as it happening on the day.
Right.
But I do have like early teachings from my school years, my elementary school years, in my middle school years, where the Bloody Sunday was brought up in history classes.
Mhm.
History classes that I've had the honor to be a part of, because at our school they actually taught us.
I know. I was like, that's not a thing
normal,
that, yeah.
But in University City, Missouri,
Okay.
one of the suburbs of St. Louis County,
which I lived in for
which you
almost
lived
5 years.
and your grandparents and your dad and myself
and you, yes.
and your Uncle girls and everybody else, but we were, I think we were like, it was a rarity that you would find a school that had like the real diverse population, such as blacks and whites and Asians,
Mm.
all going to school together, and in classes like state and Congress and a few others. And the African American history was not necessarily taught in like a format of a classroom, but there were moments when they would speak about civil rights because of state and Congress classes, which is about the Bill of Rights and civil rights and any kind of rights as an American citizen is deserving of us.
Right.
So I remember that just the images, and that the birthday, my mother's birthday, is March, or was March 9th, because she's gone to heaven. And so March 9th was, always like 7th would come, and my mother and my father and other people in the family would talk about Bloody Sunday. Remember when that happened? And looking back, I don't recall having like any real profound memories of that era, but I remember like fast forwarding to 1977 when then I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
And those classes were more meaningful, because then now I can
You
see
can absorb it,
and I could
you've
comprehend.
lived.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I also have had, my own, experiences with being like, maybe forbidden to be in certain places, even
Mm-hmm.
in University City, but not as much as, of course, in Selma,
Right.
Alabama.
Because I mean,
Not
owners
that
of
Missouri is
right.
any better.
Well,
'Cause
that's what I was gonna say. Like, if you own your own business, you have the right to refuse service to whoever, right? So you
Mhm.
could still say like, "Oh, we don't like you because you're black or whatever."
Yeah, or
You
you would
know?
just get that I don't see you, you must be invisible kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cold shoulders. And basically growing up, that was one of many, but I rather stick to that topic, because then we can go on forever and ever, because it is Black
Right.
History Month, and I'm really happy to represent the Riverside County Black Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And I have to plug my husband, who's Peppy Jackson, because he's the president of the Black Chamber. And we are fighting
Yes.
for closing up the health disparities in our Black and African American and Brown communities. Not to say that anyone that's not Black is not welcome, because everyone's welcome at the chamber. Thank you.
Great. I love that. So yeah, so obviously, things run a lot deeper, and there's just a lot, there's a lot more than just like, oh,
It happened. And,
yeah, like
yeah,
there's just so many
move
different
on.
levels, like, yeah. So regardless, we're gonna get into this episode. So this aired, it's called Listen, it's episode 3. It's aired 3/17/2021. Episode synopsis, which me and Claudia are known to dislike Paramount Plus's anything they do besides making Homecoming. But basically their synopsis is: a charged conversation about racism sends shockwaves through the loft, and Eric opens up about traumatic events from his past. So we start back in the loft in the middle of the heated conversation between Kevin and Becky. Becky is still reluctant to listen to what Kevin's trying to say. So we end at quote unquote, "I didn't say you were a crazy, emotional, angry Black man, Kevin." So, Mom, what do you think essentially about like this whole? I mean, we haven't finished the conversation, but what did you think going into it?
Yeah, I did. I did view it a couple of times, and I remember when you were really into watching, Real World. And of course, I had no interest whatsoever in reality TV. Now I can't get enough. Go figure.
Yeah.
However, what I do remember is from listening to Becky respond to what I think she thought she was, kind of listening, but it does make, I think, anyone that's Black, that's being told by anyone who isn't Black, that maybe you need to like calm your heels, or maybe you're being a little too dramatic or anything like that. It just goes to show that you can't know what a person's feeling unless you yourself have gone through it. And that means on every level, not like because I'm female and gay and you're Black, so we're the same kind of struggle. It's not the same. So when
Right.
she said that, I felt that it was an overreach because that was like too extreme of what she thought he was accusing her of, I felt.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Last episode, me and Clouds kind of didn't agree, but did at the same time. Like, we felt like you know, Becky like having so many rebuttals because she maybe felt like he was trying to mansplain to her,
Mhm.
which I could
Mhm.
get. I understand, like, especially with like, I mean, granted, it started very calm, but then
Mhm.
got to here where he like was doing like those laughs, where people they're fighting and then you're just like doing like, condescending things,
Yeah, it was totally condescending.
Right. I get it. I get that completely.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like, my whole thing was like, can you just let him finish his sentence
Mhm.
and then you could do whatever you want to say about your Brazilian thing or whatever.
And-
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, that
yeah,
was my
yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah, it was
Like,
timing. It was kind of like I don't mean to change subjects, but it's kind of like the young lady on RuPaul, that the one from New
oh,
York. I think her name is
yeah. If
Jasmine.
you guys watch RuPaul's
Yeah,
Drag Race
I'm
season
sorry,
14,
people, but
yeah, Jasmine Kennedy.
yeah,
And then Cornbread
and
was like,
cornbread.
you better stop breathing. Oh, you're looking over there. I don't like you looking over there. You better stop writing down things. You better listen. Like, yeah, that's too much. But
Yes,
yes, it's like, I guess maybe.
interrupting. It's like it's not a good listener's trait if you can't wait to respond. And first of all, you know, I didn't know this because I'm a big talker, and you know that. But what you have to really do when you listen for real is really like process now all the words that you heard.
Not
And
thinking about what you're gonna
yeah,
say next.
exactly.
That's a big thing that people do.
But what I did notice, because they did, unfortunately for me, fortunately, they would flash back to when they were talking back in 92.
Mhm.
And they had that same dynamic
And that's what
and the
made me
same
disappointed.
friction. Yeah.
That was what was
29
disappointing.
years
Yes,
later,
yes.
I even felt that Kevin had not learned how to not take everything
Yes.
personally.
And let's
But
like
okay,
wait, let's get
okay.
into this because
All
now
right,
we're
I'm
like
sorry.
we're just basically telling you the
I'm
whole
just
damn
okay.
story.
I'm sorry.
But yes, I mean, this is all
Mhm.
valid stuff. So
Mhm.
we start back in the loft. We already talked about that. So Kevin is trying to explain that when we describe people of color like that being emotional,
Mhm.
quote unquote, it feeds into white supremacy in this country. Becky's like, no. Kevin is getting obviously more frustrated with her. In his confessional, he says that it's sad that she's defensive when a person of color is simply speaking their truth. What do you think about that?
And see, that's where I felt that Kevin like really gave her a huge responsibility as the representative of a race. You can't tell a person because you are responding the way that she did. She was limited. She's only limited because she doesn't have the same experiences because she's not a person of color. So
I
she was
get that.
defending what she doesn't understand. It's like this: when we would ask a white person when Rodney King was beaten down and the whole bit, the riots and all,
Mhm.
and you would say, the cops are always profiling us and pulling us over, and then they don't even give us a chance to get the registration before they just open fire, right?
Mhm.
And then a white person would say, well, that's not true. They don't do that. Well, they're both telling the truth, but the
To
truth,
that person.
but the truth for the white person that said that, they don't, they're not lying.
Okay,
They're
but
just saying what that don't, they know that it doesn't happen like that to me.
I
So
get
there's
that.
no bad cops to me.
Right, I get
Okay,
that.
you got it.
But in this
So
current
in this
climate
one,
with,
what he says,
George Floyd and freaking video proof of
oh yeah.
constant people getting shot down for being black for no other reason,
Mhm.
and you sit here and claim like I'm the most liberal lady alive, and
Yeah, and I have
John
black
Lennon
friends and I
comes to
take
me at
African
night or
dance
whatever,
classes.
and I take African dance classes, like clearly you would think that that person would have a little bit of a more
She'd be more informed because
Yes.
today is 2022.
yes, not
So
1992.
2022. And and my thing is that in 92, she was younger, she was definitely
She was in her
sheltered.
20s.
I'm sure they protected her from all the horrible things
Right.
of living
She
in
literally
a,
came from a white neighborhood, like literally.
I was gonna say, if you never even really hung out in the hood or in the urban, part of the city, then you may not even witness anything like that ever in your whole childhood. You may not never see that.
Right.
But for him to say that it's things like the way she said that, to sum it up as that's what's making the rest of the white people who don't believe like he does, that this thing really exists. And it's definitely, a lot of different disparities when you're not white and you get, confronted by a policeman. It's always going to be that way, I
So I
believe.
get what you're saying. So
Mhm.
maybe like the
Maybe he
same.
overreached too, because he said she's being defensive. She was defending what she knew. She's limited. So
She's a
she shouldn't have been
grown woman.
well, she shouldn't have been so oral about it. Maybe she should have been like
Just
a
like
Heather and just chill.
for a second.
Just chill,
Just
like the
for a
whole time.
second.
Just I don't know what she's talking about. You know what I'm saying? If I don't know what you're talking about, Sylvia, I'm gonna sit back and look at you and listen.
Yeah, I just think that she made it. Maybe she felt like he was attacking her, and then she was like, "No, no, no, I'm not gonna let you attack me, or I'm not gonna let you make me the whatever." And then it just got way worse.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, again,
I got you.
blah blah blah. The tensions in the room are rising.
Mhm.
Becky starts to explain. Even though it's gonna sound racist,
No, when you start out
okay,
like that, you're already done.
and and then and Kevin said, then don't say it. He says that.
And that was smart. to say
And
that.
she still said she took an Afro-Brazilian dance class where she lost her color. Can I say, mother, I am the person that consistently has friends that are like, I'm not racist because Sophia is my friend.
Woohoo.
Or
And-
not anymore, but when I was
But
younger.
when you were young, I can only
Yes.
imagine.
And so like that shit, like the colorblind shit, I'm not into it.
And
I'm
you don't want
not.
to be colorblind.
No, because that is like,
Then you're closing your eyes to reality.
yes.
Yeah.
Like that's not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I know that coming up in again, a diverse, community. However, when I would, I chose to date your dad, who's, white and Filipino. I
Mhm.
mean, people would look at me like, are you crazy? He's not gonna know anything about your
Your culture, yeah.
However, he was the funkiest bass player and the best dancer I'd ever seen. So he knew a lot about what I liked, which was funky music and R&B music.
But that was also in the 70s.
And it
like,
was in the 70s, but in the 70s, which was a very high tension time because there was the Vietnam War,
yeah.
So these other things that were going on, that there was the race war.
But my point is like, why is this still happening?
Well, that's the thing. See, that's what I was saying, that Becky and people like Becky, they're not necessarily racist.
No, she's not racist.
but
And
I
she's
think-
not the reason of all this.
No.
But I think people like her aren't contributing anything.
They're not, like Julie said, you should be anti-racist.
Yes.
And that would take care of all of that.
Yes. Like, and
Speak
that's
out.
the biggest thing.
Just speak out. It's wrong, call it wrong. If it's a spade, call it a spade.
Mhm.
If
it's a
police,
frog, leap.
and if it's a duck, quack.
Anyways,
Power to the people.
yeah. So basically they're both like,
power to the people. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously everything's super uncomfortable. Everyone's just kind of staring at them and it's weird. And basically Becky feels like, the whole racism thing is being turned on her. Norman, and he's known from season 1 from my core fans, you guys know his Sicilian blood can boil. So his Sicilian blood was boiling and he was trying to like interrupt, like try to like calm things down.
Friends, right? They're like the closest of all of them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they're besties.
Yeah, that's I can understand that.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, so yeah, so basically
so he got like really more frustrated just by listening to her.
Yeah,
because just like it's just like talking
like you're
to
digging a hole for yourself, and it's like maybe you're not that person, but you're making yourself look like that person,
and you're making matters worse because you won't shut up. And just shut up.
I think that was the biggest thing. Like, okay, girl, like even if you're right, like let's just like.
Well, it was somebody that was in your one of the comedians at your show at Flappers on Saturday. he said,
Ding.
little, yeah, that too, a little plug. But the thing was, he was talking about the fact that if you don't agree with people, you don't really have to make it a fight. You could just
Not agree.
not agree and not even say the words, I don't agree. You really could just say nothing and shake your head.
Yeah.
Child.
Child.
Bless her heart. Child don't know
Oh,
nothing.
bless everybody's heart. Jesus, help us all.
Please.
Oh, you could just say that.
Jesus, build a fence.
Build a wall.
Okay.
Anyways.
Oh my God.
Okay. So
Anyway.
so basically Norman tried to like go in, and then Becky's like, no, this is my time or whatever.
I know.
And then Kevin was like, you weren't even listening. I didn't even. Oh wait, I've skipped something.
And then Kevin tells us she needs to be careful.
Yes, with what she's saying,
Mhm.
because she's just kind of like getting into weird territory with her language.
Mhm. That privilege thing,
Yes.
and it's not even see, and that's where I kind of had a little difference of opinion from Kevin.
Because now I think
Yeah.
he got personal,
I think so too.
but also
Yeah,
the bitch is privileged.
and that's fine. I mean, if you
And she
are,
like wanted just like my yacht in Spain
yes,
or
and
whatever.
all my diamonds are
Yeah, and
shining every
everyone was just, like,
day by my
nodding.
Black and Latino friends. I don't know, but the thing
All
is,
the black children make my diamonds.
but
Anyways, no, she didn't say all that.
But she did not say that. Let's be fair.
Yeah, she did not.
But the thing what she was saying, and I think this is what happens with people, period, that like to just hear themselves talk. So what happens is she talks about what? Herself and her privilege trips, or just to me, it was exciting and adventurous, journeys that she
Mhm.
was blessed and privileged to go on. Doesn't make her bad, doesn't make her wrong. It makes her not in touch with the conversation at hand, which was racism in America.
Right.
And that's where Kevin was coming from. He's an activist,
And he's been an activist since he was in
and
his
he's
20s.
a black man, so he suffered a lot.
Yes, and like we said before, me and Claudia, like when they were in their 20s, he would be having these conversations with 20-year-olds,
Yes.
and they're like, bro, I'm trying to freaking party. I'm a rapper.
I'm trying to have
I'm a
fun.
singer. Like, like
Eric is like, forget about it. He's
and
just drinking.
yeah, and Heather is like, girl, I'm signed. Like, I don't know what you is, but
yeah, yes.
like so that people don't understand, and it doesn't mean that he's wrong.
No.
It just means that the people aren't here to listen to that, I guess.
And
they're
that's-
not ready to listen to it. Okay.
All right.
So
we had the commercial break.
Yes, we are back.
And
And we
back.
have hats.
Building back better.
Yes, there you have it.
Yes.
So,
America 2022.
yes, USA Winter Olympics.
Oh my God, we have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But the seven strangers really got it going on.
Oh, okay. So where were we?
We were down here where Kevin interrupts and said that this doesn't negate that there are systems in place that put them against one another, because that was a big point. First, he said she was speaking from a place of privilege.
Mhm.
And then Becky starts to do exactly that by giving her list of adventures and journeys and all the little trips she's taken.
And she has like a house in Spain, and she has a house in France.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right. That's right. That too.
A pool and all this.
Mhm. And so then Kevin interrupts her, but that part is not as important as what Julie steps in and says. I think if you will go there.
Yes. So basically, like it's getting too uncomfortable. Okay, we need to stop looking at ourselves.
Yeah, can you get that off of
It's
there?
distracting. Okay, wait. I'm gonna pause this. Like, really. I'm just gonna take. I can't take it.
You say you don't want us to look at ourselves.
Well, yeah, because then we're just looking.
Well,
at
if you were on
ourselves.
TV, you would get a monitor. You would see.
I know, but like,
Okay, there you go.
You don't look in the camera.
Okay, so you want me to look at you like I would,
or like you can look there or here.
I'm just gonna look at you.
Okay. I'm Barbara Walters. So, anyways,
and I'm Katie Couric.
Yes, exactly.
No, I'm Gail King.
Oh yes, and I'm Oprah. um. Okay, so
Anyway.
okay, so where were we?
Julie steps in and
so Julie steps in and basically the whole thing is kind of, everyone's kind of uncomfortable. It's just like between Becky and Kevin, and Julie says basically, let's maybe
if you don't meet people where they are, that's a big communication piece. To meet someone where they are means like you meet a homeless person. You may never have been homeless, but you say, hi, I see that you might need some help. Is there something I can do? It looks like you don't have shoes. Would you like a shirt? No, you give them some shoes. That's meeting people where they are.
Oh, is it?
That's
okay. For me,
Mhm.
Okay. So that's one thing that you think.
Mhm.
But to me, like meeting someone where they are is like, we don't agree, but let's just be like, hey, we agree on all these other things. So let's just remain friends and move on.
Mhm.
That's how I felt.
Mhm. So instead of like just totally like taking somebody off the road that they're on,
Yeah,
you
like
don't
you're
try to
here
fix them. You just
and
let
I'm
them know.
here,
Yes, and
you
we
know.
have a mutual respect for each other.
Right. And you meet each other where
Yes,
we're at.
yes.
That's how I took it.
Well, that's one way of looking at it too. But then another way of meeting someone where they are at is by sending your address and let them GPS and they can come and meet you where you are. Bottom line, where you be is where you are.
You can definitely drop a pin and then you would meet anyone where they are.
Where they are.
But yes. Thank you. Anyways, so
okay, on a more serious note.
Yeah. So Mom, do you think Becky is warranted in like the defensiveness kind of energy towards Kevin?
I only do because I think that it's only human to defend when you feel like you're being attacked. And so even though we don't perceive Kevin as an aggressive, attacking, angry black man or white man or a man, period, she feels, I mean, we don't,
I see him as a man.
I see him, I guess he is a big, he could be fooling, you never know. So, but anyway, the thing is that when you tell her that, you're sounding like a racist, then what can you do but to be defensive?
I understand.
Even if you were racist, you're calling me out in front of everybody
and cameras
on
and
yeah. So that would not, that's what I said. So from a human point of view, yes, but from a friend's point of view, she should not have taken it so personally.
I think that's where I'm struggling. Yeah. It's like if it was real life where there was no cameras and like we were just talking, like I have friends since I was like literally in elementary school. So I'm getting to these people,
29 years later, you still know each other, right?
So it's like, are we grown up from that? Or are we still like the same people? I would hope not, like it's a lot of that maybe in me, as opposed to like just being objective about it and like
like a stranger would be probably.
Right.
Well, what Julie was talking about too was that she took the time to grow, and she mentions that she said if you don't meet people where they are, then we aren't going to communicate. So that has to happen first. And Julie says, as a white person, she realized later that being not racist wasn't enough, and that you have to become anti-racist, and that was the power that Becky could have like, oh, I see.
Right.
I could do more. And then Julie goes on and talk about how she's helping like underserved young people get through the, the college level of, processing the application properly. So they'll get a chance to even be considered for the entry.
No, yeah, she does a lot of good stuff, and so does her daughter,
and then she talks about the actual bridge again.
Well, yeah, so that was a big thing. So like we talked about earlier about Bloody Sunday. So she talked about how in 2015 when Obama and
John Lewis,
like a bunch of people, they marched on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma on Bloody Sunday. It was like a the reunion of it or whatever. And
Anniversary.
and she was like, well, I'm in Alabama, she's from
Like it's
Alabama.
literally down the street from you.
Yeah. So she was like,
Yes.
this seems silly not to go. So she brought her kids, and her kids were like littler, or they were younger. And so they were just like so uncomfortable, like
Yeah, with so many
black people,
Mhm.
so many people of color.
Mm.
And her lesson was just like, that's fine if you feel uncomfortable.
Right.
It's okay to feel uncomfortable,
And that's good that you're feeling that way.
Yeah. Like, think about how black people feel. Like, I know that when you look at me, you don't think that I'm black, but I am. So like when I walk into a community full of a bunch of white people, I feel scared.
Do you?
Yes, it's just a natural thing.
Well, you just feel like out of place,
or just like somebody's gonna say something or do something, or
maybe
not
I
understand.
here
Like I just don't feel
would
like.
you feel that way in a suburban beautiful home of someone that you were like, you didn't know, but your friend knew, and it just turned out to be all,
Was my friend brown?
No, your friend is white, and then they invited you to an upper.
I would still feel weird.
You would.
I would go, but I feel weird.
Well, I always think back when I was going through my relationship with your dad, being a woman of color, and then entering into like a lot of the time aristocratic, symphony players, parties and stuff. And I would be one of the very few blacks there. But I never felt uncomfortable. Isn't that crazy?
But they're like a lot of Jewish people, a lot of brown people. Like they're not all white. I don't think.
Who's brown other than?
Well, like there's like Asian. There's a lot of Asians.
Okay, there's some Asians, and the Jews are brown.
Well, they're Jewish. They went through a lot.
Curly hair, so then.
Well, they went through a lot.
Yeah, they did. They did. They have been oppressed.
I mean, I understand that they're white, but
yeah.
They've been through like similar thing as colored
I was
people.
just saying, just based on color. And
no, yeah, I understand. I understand
because you were speaking about Julie's kids, how when they got out the car and saw a river, pretty much, of just black faces,
people, yeah,
and they weren't painted on black faces; they were real black people.
And don't say that. You have been canceled. No, but no, yeah, it's true. Like even though they're from literally down the street, they don't. I'm glad that she taught her children that.
She said she hoped that they will speak about this very day that they went through on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 30 years. Just like she's talking to the people that she used to know from 92. She wants this experience to be something that they could reflect on, and they will have a voice of at least some, I've been there. I saw it with my own eyes,
And Julie freaking went to freaking hung out and slept, like spent the night with a homeless lady.
Yeah, she went a little too far.
Yeah, it was too far. But still, like, I mean, I appreciate that because she's not from New York and she's trying to understand it as best she could.
And she did good.
Yeah.
She did good with her life too, because it showed in her changes, in her transformation and transitioning into a better person, that she, first of all, that's a core. And when you just want to help others, you can't really teach that.
Yeah.
You have to have a heart for it.
She clearly
and she obviously was very susceptible to it, and that's why she was very sensitive to it. Whereas Becky has lived in La La Land.
Yes.
And it's
in her
not
bubble.
her fault, in a bubble.
And it's not her fault.
But a big, pretty bubble.
But it's like kind of her fault because.
Well, she could have stretched outside the bubble.
I mean, she kind of like. Her bubble was exposed 30 years ago. So you would think
that she would have something more important to talk about.
I guess. Yeah.
Well,
anyway, it's fine. Okay. So, we're back. So, so basically he's talking about the black bourgeoisie, how he doesn't want to hear about, her, travels and her privilege and stuff, which we already talked about. We also get a never before seen footage of Becky talking to the roommates.
Yes.
Where she says like she was very advanced in her schooling. Like she read Lord of the Flies in 6th grade, did
Yes.
Shakespeare play in 5th grade, been learning
Yes.
French since the age 5,
Yes.
as white as can be. She literally says that, but learned a lot about things out of high school. She knew about everything and every revolutionary in every culture. That's what she said.
And this might be true from a book sense if she did study
Exactly.
and she got an A on the exam or something.
That doesn't mean shit.
But that doesn't mean you understand what you read.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to dissect it. You have to hear, actual people speak from experience, listen to their pain, listen to the objective of what happened.
Like
And
literally what
who
happened.
and why and how.
Not like, oh, this is the person that did this.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that
Mm-hmm.
for your ABC.
Well,
like,
I heard about the Jews and the Holocaust, so
yeah.
I know about that culture anyway. So I went to Turkey and then I took a Brazilian
Afro-American dance class.
Anyways,
Anyways.
back in the loft.
Yes.
So who's in the loft at this point? Is it Kevin and Norman? Heather? Who's in the loft when Becky leaves the room?
I'm pretty sure it's everybody,
Except
right?
her. And Eric, poor guy, is just frozen on the screen.
Yeah, he's just like, wait, what's going on?
No.
No, yeah. So back in the loft.
And then what I underlined was this one here. When Kevin says he doesn't want to hear about her lavish life, but the average American person, not just black or white, lives paycheck to paycheck.
And that is especially true in our current pandemic lifestyle. Most people live paycheck to paycheck or don't have a job.
Oh boy.
So damn, like I don't want to hear about damn fucking, your yacht in Spain, maybe.
Right. Or Kevin says he wants to know what is she doing with her privilege to help marginalized people. This is her. She could be in the group of all the aristocrats and all the upper class rich people and so forth, and helping help them to grow.
But maybe she had a different doesn't want to, I think.
Well, again, she's removed from it because she hasn't met anyone that's gone through that where they are. So, and it just says the next line explains it. Becky is just living her truth.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I can't help I work really hard. I love travel. I love good food. Life's not fair.
Yeah. So life is not fair.
And that's just how it goes.
to you and yours. It's not fair.
No, I get it. Life isn't fair.
But you know what? I think that's what made me a little bit disappointed in the actual, the production of it all. They made that whole episode about Becky being a real dodo,
I know.
And it was kind of like she said, she felt used. I don't know if she got used, but if you're being recorded, you need to be on your best behavior. So,
well, also,
I'm trying to be on my best behavior right now.
Oh, you're doing a great job.
Am I with my sweaty nose?
Same here with
my
straw hat.
Nose. I have no idea what I look like. It don't matter no more.
It don't matter no more.
It don't matter to me.
No, but like that was the other thing too. Because later they talk about how the producers legitimately told them like, hey, we're gonna show you a clip and you guys are gonna talk about it. And it's not.
I was wondering how they got into that.
It's not a damn. Nobody else was confused.
It's not like they came in blindside.
Exactly, and she's acting
I
like
got you question.
She's acting like it's I got you, and everyone else is like,
gotcha.
What are you talking about? Anyway,
not
like I'm okay. Yes, maybe I don't like Becky. It's fine. So, anyways,
I don't dislike her. I just, I would just have to hopefully talk to her, in a private way.
We need to talk to her with John Lennon.
And maybe.
Yes. Back in the loft. I already said that. Okay, we already talked about that. Okay, so Kevin says she's representing the problem in this country, which I think I would think that, but I don't think I would tell someone that.
And see, there's what I'm talking about. You can think, wow, you just what's wrong with our country right now?
Yeah.
Because people say Black Lives Matter, and then right away they say white lives matter too.
Right.
It's like it has always mattered in America. Your lives.
Yes.
We're trying to just become close to
built
being
on.
equal. Well, and they built this country on our backs with the cotton,
and they fucking killed all the Native Americans. Anyway, sorry.
Black History Month 2022.
Black History Month.
Black History Month.
and a rainbow hat.
I feel like we're the village people or something.
Wow,
It's fun to stay at the. Okay, stay focused.
Okay, sorry. It's getting late. All right. So, anyways, what are we saying?
Well, where I hear you saying that Kevin was charging
Yes.
her.
So
with,
basically, he said
it's a lot
she's
of
the problem in the
power.
country, which
That's
is
not fair.
I can understand when Claudia said that is very mansplainy. That is very manny to say, like, oh, you're the problem. Like, girl, calm down.
Manny, what is Manny?
Like very mannish, like
mannish,
like a man, like would say
masculine.
that. Like, oh, you're the man.
Yeah,
Like
macho.
you're the problem because you're the macho man. Okay. Anyways, Becky gets defensive and Norman gets uncomfortable. Kevin is trying to finish, but Becky says he's attacking her. Kevin and Norman try to reason with Becky and try to think about how she sounds. Like they're basically being like, we're being filmed right now.
Yeah.
So let's everybody
kind of just like
calm
down.
Yeah. They're trying to help her a little bit. She
they
continues to interrupt and make it about her. Norman gets heated and then he goes, just shut up.
And he didn't say it like shut up.
No, he wasn't
said,
like, can you
shut up?
No, it was like,
No,
can you just shut Yeah, like, he was like trying to be nice.
Yes, as a friend,
Yeah.
a real friend.
But then she got,
Yeah. Well, that's when like people say, if you're not guilty, then why take ownership of anything somebody else's opinion says about you?
That's another thing, Mom.
Yeah.
Is about like, why are you defending yourself if you are not racist?
You don't. You simply say, I don't
you know,
understand what you're feeling because I never experienced it, but I believe what you feel is real.
Or I'm
Or as
so
a friend,
sorry about like that time that happened.
Yeah.
And I believe that your feelings are valid or whatever.
Or you don't even have to have an agreement. Like
Whatever. Yeah. Like something that's not defensive.
Right.
So
We
then
said that so many times tonight. I'm about.
But before we break, because we already braked, we gonna talk about where they at now. Where they at now? Where they at now? So we're gonna talk about Eric. So you just read a bullet and I read a bullet.
Okay, so this is where Eric is. This is Eric, the one of the 7 strangers from real world that was stuck in his home because he had COVID-19.
Yeah, in a hotel room.
And he was in a hotel room and he's the cutest guy. He had these nice hats on and everything. And that's why we have these hats on. Okay.
This is in solidarity with Eric.
Yes, with Eric, who couldn't be there in person, but he was there and he was
in
very,
spirit.
very necessary to be there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
for sure.
So where they are at now, Eric is at shortly after filming, MTV hired Eric as a host for the dance show, The Grind. Remember The Grind?
Yeah, I do actually. Do you?
No.
Yeah, it was like a before Zumba.
Oh,
it was
really?
like a lot of hot people like doing hip hop dances on MTV,
cool.
And it was like aerobics.
It said this led to the release of mini dance aerobics VHS tapes. So that's dated.
Yes, VHS tapes.
Even for a baby boomer like me. Okay.
So from 92 to the early 2000s, he made many appearances in TV, film, and reality TV.
Even before filming The Real World, Eric struggled with addiction to drugs and alcohol as a result of a traumatic childhood.
Yes. In the late 90s, Eric was robbed and betrayed by his manager, which resulted in a deep depression and suicidal thoughts.
Then in his mid-20s, he met his grandmaster, and since then has been 19 years sober and works as a spiritual guide and healer, traveling all over the world. Good for Eric.
That's wonderful.
And it's just Eric steps in and agrees with a lot of what everyone was saying. So this will give you that part.
Yeah. So we're going to take another break.
We are?
Yes, because I need a water.
Okay. Sounds like a good idea.
Okay, bye.
And now it's time for Fuck, Marry, Kill.
I'm kind of obsessed with myself at the moment.
Perfect.
So, I'm more focused on taking care of myself. I've realized I didn't do that very much in the past.
So this is what you're fucking.
I'm fucking myself.
I
get
it.
I love it.
Okay, so I know you guys have been back for a few weeks, but I'm definitely marrying the bleeding hammock because I could not handle that break. I had nothing to listen to for my podcast. I mean, I have other podcasts, but I'm like, it's the day of the week it's supposed to come out. What am I supposed to be doing right now?
Let me ask you, Amanda, what do you think about the new release date Thursday?
Oh my gosh, I love it. It gets me through my work day.
So, yeah, I'm just going to kill mayonnaise.
Oh.
Really?
Why?
I can't stand mayonnaise.
What about Japanese mayonnaise?
Never tried it.
Spicy mayonnaise?
And if it's anything like regular mayonnaise, I probably wouldn't like it. And I mean,
what don't you like about it?
The texture, the consistency. I'd rather have mustard.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Listen to the Bleeding Hammock Podcast. Available where you get all your podcasts.
Okay, you want to put our hats back on or leave them off now that we're with Eric, please?
Yeah, we're done. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Your microphone. All right, we are back.
I think we are.
Okay, so basically, we talk about Eric's transformation and spiritualism. Eric explains that Kevin is coming from an emotional place for himself and his ancestral lineage. I can definitely relate. When I get very heated about things, I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm so heated, but like, that's the only
Emotion.
That's the only reason that I can think of is that I have ancestral, I need to speak for my ancestors.
Yeah.
You know what I
It would be
mean?
nice to really get some real knowledge from them and wisdom and even their experience being shared with you because you didn't get a lot of that.
And also a lot of them aren't alive, but I feel like that you just have that in your blood or whatever.
Yes, yes.
That kind of just makes you I need to speak up or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think Eric was trying to explain that he has years and years of ancestral, besides the fact that he was, beaten down for 30 years or whatever about the way he spoke to Becky. But on top of it is that he's an activist for a reason.
Yeah, that's why he's so passionate about it.
He's so freaking passionate. Yeah. And sometimes that can just...
You're talking about Kevin now, right?
I'm talking about Kevin.
Okay,
yeah, because Eric is telling them about how Kevin, where Kevin is coming from. So that's how Eric describes it. He's saying he's speaking for himself and his ancestral lineage.
And that's beautiful.
And I love that. Yeah, because you
can't even start to understand yourself unless you look at your ancestors and really learn where they came from and what happened to them, because it really will denote what they will be like as a parent or a grandparent, sister or brother,
or the ancestral things that you need to stop,
or you might not, it might be a generational curse.
Yeah.
And so you want to stop that from happening if you can. And you can.
Yeah. You can keep the good
buck
stuff
here.
Yeah. But yeah, so blah blah blah. Kevin's happy because he had received apologies from Andre, Julie, and Heather from the past, saying dude, now that I'm older, I understand what you were saying. Again, he was a professor when they were all musicians and dancers and models. So,
but in 92, he wasn't a professor yet.
Yes, he was.
He was?
Yes.
At 92?
He was 25.
Wow.
And he was a professor at NYU.
Get out.
Yeah.
Oh, then they should have just said, school's in? Okay, I'm gonna sit down and take notes,
And he would so you get frustrated with them.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. So it's a lot. Anyway.
Yes, it is.
So Becky goes into her room and she basically tells Julie that she feels used, like we said.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be here anymore. She doesn't feel comfortable. She feels jumped, is what Heather says.
Jesus.
Which is a New York ass thing to say.
Right.
She's like, I think she felt jumped.
Yeah, she did. She said that.
I love Heather. Yeah, so then Norman tries to check in with Becky.
Right. And she just brushes him off.
Supposed best friends.
And this is where that kind of felt like, again, I'm always suspicious about the producers of a show like this. did they tell her? And then when Norm comes to check on you, I want you to make it more about you. Because when she's left the room, now it becomes about her completely, because she's left the conversation and the space where everybody else was sitting.
But how would that be produced?
You could tell them that once you guys start to not get along again, I want you to get up
just leave
and leave the room, and the cameras will follow you. I mean, you'll never know, but I just feel like it was too convenient for her, because she was being, what Heather said, she felt like she was being jumped, right? And that everyone was against her, right? So what would be the next thing you could do? You could either sulk or just say, you guys, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand. And now I'm starting to understand. Or you can make it about you and say, I'm out of here. I feel used.
So maybe you think like she did that to put more like spotlight on herself?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or the producers told her to do it.
Which is interesting, Mom, because later on, Andre is like done. Like he's like, the more we talk about her, the more this is about her.
Yeah, and that's where you don't continue to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. I
So,
agree with
okay,
that.
I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, but like I said, we'll never know unless someday somebody says, well, you know what, the producer told me to just be that way. And then that would be shame on Kevin and all the rest of them for making us feel anything. And because reality TV, the reason why I do like reality shows is because it's not scripted, and it shouldn't be scripted.
But producers, kind of, blah, 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 do their thing.
Like
but all they had to do, all these guys had to do was be like, hey,
to each other,
get into a house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
They didn't have the experience of normal reality shows. They were the first of all reality shows.
That's one that started it.
So their experience was, I can come and go as I please. I can freaking.
Oh, they didn't have to stay there?
No.
So they got to go home?
Well, they could go wherever they wanted.
They could go out on
so
the
a lot
town.
of like that season is a mess because they couldn't keep track of everybody. Everyone's going like to Pennsylvania and shit, like crazy shit.
Yeah.
And they realized very quickly that we need to force these people.
Got to contain them.
Yeah, we have to force them in to get
for just the cost.
For the story. Like if you watch the first season, the story is all over the place because everyone's in and out and all this.
Oh.
And because it's normal life. Like they didn't know about reality TV.
Right.
So this is their all first step into like a real reality television scenario. Granted, they didn't even get the real scenario because they got all their phones and computers and shit.
I see what you're saying.
So
I see. So they were able to have outside influences and regular stimuli and everything else that what they were used to doing.
Yeah.
So that give you escape time.
Exactly.
I got you.
And so this was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like I can't leave.
Yeah.
Unless I'm being filmed or I'm coming.
So this like, time in the reunion, like this one, they're told the rules kind of like RuPaul.
The regular, right? The regular, like you gotta every stay. Day.
Don't call your father, don't call your husband.
Or if you are, we're gonna film you.
Yeah. And then we're just gonna ask you to leave anyway. Because you just okay, I like it.
Yeah. So anyways, so we're almost done. Basically
we're down here where Heather explains how Kevin was right.
Yes. About a lot of things that he said on the show. But they didn't want to listen to Kevin. Like I said, like they're young, creatives.
Go outside and go wherever they can go.
Run around in New York. They don't care.
She said they wanted to play. They were 5.
Can Heather come to play?
I know.
But yeah, so now that she's older, she's a better listener, and she attests that to Kevin.
Yeah.
Because he was all over the roommates.
Now that you tell me he was a professor, I guess you have to just learn to listen.
He's like, classmates listen.
Okay, teacher.
Yeah. Okay. So then we have a never before seen footage where Becky says this piece was presented to her as young people different than her living in the real world. This piece. So it's an art piece. But again, there was no reality TV. Nobody knew anything. So we're back at the loft, and Becky is explaining that she's just grown out of this. And she's just over it.
Yeah. She said this is not real life. So
did you notice she was fake yawning?
No.
Oh, I do that all the time. Or I used to. Like when I'm like if feeling anxious or like I feel like everyone's watching me, I actually haven't done it in like 8 years, but I used to do it all the time.
Really?
That's what she was doing, and you could tell it's fake.
I just never heard
She
people
kept
fake
doing it.
yawning.
I was like, girl, are we the same person? She did it twice. I was like,
Oh my
okay, like, are you a
God.
teenager? Calm down.
Really?
Yeah, like
She thinks she's really doing a great job of it. It was.
you guys are so boring.
Oh, I see.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Anyways,
So Andre and Kevin, they get the hell out of there.
yeah,
too.
so they take a walk. They're
Mhm.
done with this shit. And they talk about what happened earlier, and Andre doesn't want to let that like suck the fun out of it.
And that's where I would be.
Yeah, this is a once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
They haven't seen each other for years.
And this since the COVID.
In the same
know?
loft.
Yeah, and they're in this
In the
very same
pandemic.
loft.
Like,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
you should definitely like
Wow.
take advantage of that and be happy and not worry about this stupid shit. But
Andre said something that I thought was very sweet. He said that he explains how they didn't get close in 92 and he finds that unfortunate.
yeah.
Because he didn't, that just goes to show you like there are different people that you will just immediately bond with, and then others that not that they dislike you or like you. It's just that you don't
like,
see that what you have in common, or you just
or
don't
maybe, yeah,
have the
you don't
time.
give each
And like
other
you
the
said,
chance or-
like you said, they was able to run around, go to the zoo, and come back and come back in, then talk to each other, eat some pizza, and then go to the skating rink.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Nobody's allowed to do that
Yeah.
anymore in reality
Exactly.
TV. So yeah, it's hard.
I like it.
But yeah, so Andre explains how he didn't realize that the things he was saying about racism was true until recently, and he talks about like
Yes.
watching the videos of horrible things and
About the guy being shot in the back by a policeman, and he
unarmed.
he was unarmed
As usual.
So
unfortunately, yes.
another subject that not that I'm numb to, but before before Obama and all that, I believe that you, even Destiny and Jeff, may have thought that the world wasn't as bad as we knew
I think
it to be.
I think, and then Trump happened, and I was like,
Oh, that really opened your eyes.
I might as well die.
I know.
Anyways,
you and 75 million others.
Right.
Okay, Americans.
Anyway,
so Andre is basically letting them know, look, I was there. I saw what happened. I'm here now. But let's not let her suck the life out of while we are back together, right?
yes,
And so,
I love that about Andre.
I like that. And he's,
Yeah.
he has a great background.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping that it would have a part on here where it tells you, everybody's where they've been since.
Well, every episode we do it.
Oh, okay.
So this is the episode that
This
we
is
talked
the one.
about
Okay,
Eric.
Eric. Okay.
So yeah, if
Thank
you
you.
want to go back, you can listen about Andre.
Okay.
But yeah, so never before seen footage. I think I already talked about this in episode 1, but basically this is like what pissed me and Claudia off. They did not show their reactions to the verdict in the original season.
Oh, they didn't?
No, they did in 2020.
Oh,
and I'm like,
yeah.
but this would make so much more sense as to the way that because Kevin also had a fight with Julie right after
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that would make more sense to the viewer in 92,
To understand where that pain is coming from.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the way it was, like,
do you remember Rodney King? I don't mean to flip the script on you, but it was significant to one of your birthdays when it happened.
I remember this story, and I know that it was around your birthday. No,
That was the riots.
Right.
But when Rodney King was beaten down was like March 3rd, like
Oh, shit.
1991.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not really. I just remember maybe like
It interrupted
knowing
your
about
birthday
it.
party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we lived in Atwater Village.
What
On
happened?
Revere. Well, because we had the TVs on, and we was, she's such a little lady, and so so dainty. And so anyway, when we, how sometimes you have the TV on in one room, and everybody else is like in the music room where we had music going, and the kids are in the back playing.
Mhm.
Well, then whoever's walking through the house saw, they're like, they're beating this guy. The police are beating this guy. It was Kay Ballard. they used to play the drums with your dad when they was playing in Japan and all those places.
Mm.
Anyway, so he when he said that, we all went running into the living room and we made sure that you guys kept playing. But it did put a big damper on the actual party because, as you well know, coming from a triracial family, that we had all colors there at that party.
Mhm.
And some of us that, were more sensitive to violence, which would probably be like the white people or maybe, the Asians. Black people, we were like, damn, they did it again, because they've been beating us since they brought us here on the ship.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're like, okay, here they're doing it on TV, but they don't know they're on TV.
I think that
was
like,
one of the first videos being recorded
yeah,
of catching a cop doing it.
like growing up, like Jeff, my brother, will tell you, like, we're not freaking ignorant to the fact that this has been going on forever.
No,
it was just like, whoa, like, because it was like, when 2020 started, it was like new fresh start. Fucking idiots. Or whatever, and just like, oh, like things are gonna be better and everyone's gonna love
in
each
2020.
other. Yes, January, I was like, this is the best year of my life.
2020, like, it was perfect vision.
Yes, everything's the best.
Yeah,
It's a new, what is it called?
I don't know.
Year? No.
Millennium.
No. It's something that I don't know. But regardless, it just really it fucked my whole world up.
Well, that did too, and but one reason why I brought it up,
yes,
because right,
we're talking about,
because when that happened, when it says here, they were talking about Rodney King's attackers and getting the not guilty.
And Heather.
So this is the one that's on my birthday.
Yes, and that was on my mom's birthday, and Heather was like, she's
April the 29th, 1993.
Yes, she's like, she's 21 at the time. 92, yeah. She's 21 at the time. She's like, I could understand a video or a cassette tape, but a videotape?
I know.
Like she couldn't
say the audio tape I can understand.
Yeah.
But you have actual visual.
Video, yeah. And then like Eric.
I mean, that's what she said. How could they find those cops not guilty if you see do you see what I see?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the George Floyd thing. Are we all looking at the same murderer here?
Yeah.
And we were, and people were finally awakened, because that's what it was. So
but
anyway,
yeah,
I'm
it's very triggering, and it's very
it's a very sensitive
it's important
subject, and it's very painful.
It's very painful
to watch because
same with Bloody Sunday, man. Did you see Bob on We're Here talking to the people at Selma?
Yes, I did.
I mean, sometimes that's how I feel,
really
like,
good.
I don't
I didn't
know.
mean to scream in your mic. I just like,
honestly, it's fine.
Okay.
But no, like I sometimes feel like that, like I don't even know what I'm supposed to do to fix it. And it's not that I can, but it's like you want to, because this is just so painful.
Well, I remember when you were in middle school, or even maybe in your first years of high school, and I'll never forget when you told me how it made you uncomfortable when people would talk about Black people in a bad way, but you didn't necessarily feel like you had a voice to speak out to it, right? And now that you know what you know today, you're kind of like what Julie said, if it had not been for Kevin and maybe the whole reality show for her, she may not have maybe, ever understood the pain of racism and being,
especially from Birmingham, brutality. Alabama. How the hell is she gonna know this person? Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad that they're working their way through this.
Yeah, a lot of it is still very heartwarming, even though like we lost Becky and everything,
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was looking at it and was very glued to the TV, and I was really like stimulated by what they were saying, because they weren't just screaming at each other and making no sense at all.
Exactly. Like they all had good points. Yeah, for sure.
So Becky steps out.
Yes.
And says she's gonna go outside now.
Norman's like, where are you going? and she's not
all sure I wasn't late,
answering.
mind your own business.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought I was your friend. And she says, what?
Not no
anymore.
more. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is rude as hell.
Mm.
And then we do never before seen footage of Becky saying I love Norman. He secretly heckles everybody.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
He's everyone's friend, but don't push him too far or he won't talk to you.
See, I don't know why people get like that.
It's funny though.
Oh.
He's a Pisces too, so freaking
Oh, okay.
you know,
That's
weirdo. Yeah.
Mm.
Weirdo like myself. All right. So
Okay. So
Heather and Norman start to talk about Becky, and Julie reminds them that they made a promise. I enjoyed this because she was like, okay, everybody, like she was trying to be like, okay, the cameras are filming, but I'm trying to like talk to y'all like secret.
this is Heather.
No, Julie. She was like, we
Oh.
all agreed that we weren't like.
Oh, we said we weren't gonna make
Yes.
this about.
Like she was like, we're not gonna talk shit about each other.
Oh, that's what we were supposed to be on, like
The same
protecting
page.
everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could tell that was like a secret like text bond or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they all had.
It was good intentions.
Yeah.
You know.
But she just basically is like, I don't want everyone to be like, oh, you know, good job me, because Becky got blown up today, is what she said.
That's not good. Don't pat yourself on the back.
Right. So Heather said they all promised that they would listen and respect one another. But obviously that did not happen.
Go for it.
What were you gonna say?
No, because I remember like when she was saying that what Norman warns that there are some more hot potatoes
Right.
on the way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like the start of a fire.
Exactly.
You know, and I thought, oh my God, so you guys said you weren't gonna like talk trash and throw shade and everything at each other, but yet something in them. Well,
because I'm just saying, production told them what they were gonna do. They were gonna throw hot potatoes at them.
okay.
They're gonna show them old footage and then be like, talk
And
about
get
it.
your reaction to it. Yeah. Okay.
Like, I mean, it's
But
not
you
that
gotta remember that,
serious.
like you and me, we're just speculators, right?
Right.
And so we don't know
what it's
nobody's-
actually like.
What does it feel like to really be in that position, in that setting, in that day and age, with all the other things, and that even a friend who's stuck in a hotel because he has COVID.
Oh,
Nobody's even
know.
talking about that. You know, I hope that as this goes on, you know, they start to talk about what's more relevant. You know,
Well, the first episode was when they found out and they were like crying and
Oh.
stuff.
Did you guys already do those?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So it's just okay, never mind. We'll talk about that.
Okay, anyways. So so Andre and Kevin talk about the younger generation. Yeah. So he talks about his wife and how long it took for him to commit.
Yeah, we saw that. I thought you were there.
We see a whole
Oh,
video of
Jesse
him and
was
his
there.
family. Kevin really likes Andre and wishes that they got closer sooner. He thinks that he is a poet and talented songwriter.
Wow. And that's pretty cool because now, you know, you're starting to feel like they're not getting stuck on negative. They're
Yeah.
moving into an area where, you know, they could still appreciate the other things in life, and that this one moment, it doesn't tell us that that's the rest of our stay here or our experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very important, just not to like let one tiny like thing that happened
Mm-hmm.
rain on everything else,
Right.
the rest of the freaking experience.
Don't stay all doomed, you know.
Yeah.
All that
Oh, and what about this
gloom
about
and
her or
doom.
whatever? Gloom and doom. So then we have a never before seen footage where Andre's sitting on the washer. He dates as often as he can, doesn't have a steady girlfriend because he's not responsible enough.
Oh wow.
That's what he said back in the day.
Mhm.
Becky is talking to a producer about how she felt she was used used to make a political statement. So
Mhm.
she's saying that she was like a pawn in a political statement.
in the big scheme of things.
Do you agree?
Well, that's why I told you my suspicion is that, like you said, they got like the footnotes and the bullet points before they came together, right? They didn't throw the real hot potatoes like you're not gonna know anything about what we're gonna talk about. Or
Well,
did
I don't
they?
know if they had cliff notes or whatever, but
Mhm.
they were told what we're gonna do is like you're gonna live in this house or whatever in a closed confined space,
Right.
and we're gonna bring up old controversial or like most talked
moments
about
and
moments
Yeah.
from your season.
Okay.
You know, so I mean,
Well, in that case, then she should not make this again about her, because if they're using her to make a political statement, then they really used Eric, because they could say, "I want you coming with your gun blazing." You know what I mean? What if he was the one that they used and said, "I want you to stay real heavy on Becky." So for her to again make it about her, not realizing that.
yeah, I feel like it was just she kept turning
Yeah.
it back, like you're making me do this. You're
You're
I
using
do
me.
this, and it's
You're
like
using me.
no, it's
You're
not.
using me. You're using me. I don't
Yeah,
want to be here. I
like
don't want to be here. Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
just seems
So I just think that was kind of childish, maybe.
very much so. And I get that
Adolescent.
Kevin's certain things that Kevin was doing was also very adolescent.
Yeah.
But
again, I think he kind of pushed the envelope a little too far.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't agree with that, but I disagree with that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like I see both sides a little bit as I continue. But anyways,
He's asking her about the producers asking Becky is another never seen before. I know what those initials meant.
oh, never before seen footage. Yeah, producer asked Becky how much of the last 13 weeks were real. And she says she doesn't think she can do it again, but it was real. Incoming TV message. Eric is back checking his temperature, talking about his COVID journey. Julie asked if his life would be different if he wasn't on the real world. He says he thinks he would be dead.
Yeah.
Eric explains all of his childhood traumas. And Heather says like none of them knew about this. So he talks about a lot.
Yeah.
One of them that really stuck with me is that he got like okay, so you don't know about this, but me and Claudia do. On the first season, where they're all like asking like, oh, do you remember like what was your first,
your first experience?
And he said he didn't
Sexually?
remember.
Oh.
And then Julie was like, you have sex with so many girls you don't remember? And he was like, yeah, I don't remember or whatever. And then Heather was recording a song about date rape. And Eric was in the studio, and she's just like singing, like, busting a rhyme or whatever about her friend who got date raped. And they show the camera, and none of these people know at this point
what is going on inside of Eric.
But you could see in his face, like he's just like he's like really like listening really hard, and like
the words are really penetrating him.
It's so sad. But anyways, one of the things is that a grown woman had sex with him as a child.
Basically raped him.
That was his first sexual experience. He was bullied a lot by his older brother.
That's so sick.
Pushing
him around and stuff.
Yeah, and making fun of him for crying and stuff like that. And his dad, we already knew from first season that he's a NBA referee.
Oh wow! So
yeah,
he's always gone.
So he's always gone, but he like gives him tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
So very that life.
Okay.
And we didn't know, because when we watched the first season, he was like 20. So you're not allowed to show people underage drinking.
I guess not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like
can go to jail.
The viewers didn't know.
It's not Mama Part 2.
But
Mama Part.
But yeah, so nowadays, who cares,
I don't know.
So they showed never before seen footage of him drinking a lot
he was
on the fire escape.
Yes, they did.
And people were scared for him.
Yes.
So yeah, and he also says in never before seen footage, like, I don't work out to like stay fit. It's because I don't want to do drugs or like get into trouble.
I know a lot of people who are doing that. This is their new drug. And I could learn from that. Just make
same. I would love working out to be my drug.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. Well, that's the choice you have to make.
Well, I work out, but I'm never like, I want more.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
I'm just like, God, that was nice.
It was 15 minutes.
Tomorrow
I'll do 20.
I'll do more.
Okay. I'm taking a nap now.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. What is that?
You know that little baby talking about
Good
no,
night.
this is something about come on, sweetie, and she said, I want to go to nap now. And he's like, you want to take a nap right here? She goes, yeah, right here. He said, okay, good night. She goes, good night. You know, they do it with all these like Instagram
I
stuff.
know, they do like the voiceover.
But I looked it up to find out the child, and it's better with the real person because they're like it looks like a drainage
so
of the beach. It doesn't even look pretty. It's just like it looks like to me like a creek or something.
It's so funny.
And he's trying to get her to get in the water with her older sister. And she was like, no, Daddy, I just want to go home. I want to nap now. And then she got on this real nasty, oily sand, dried up shit. And she laid there with her head down. He said, you're going to nap right there? I'll nap now. He said, okay, good night. Good night. It's me and Peppy's favorite.
I love it.
I love it.
I love
But you gotta
that
hear the real thing, though. It sounds
people
much better.
do like they take the audio and anyways, okay.
And add it to the dogs.
All right. So anyways, that was very funny
Yeah,
for some reason.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, so he was saying this is
Pause for the video that my mom was just talking about.
I do apologize. Is it still running?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on in here.
Are you serious? All this time we still was on. I thought.
Yeah,
I thought when we
recording.
took. Oh,
It says recording.
I was gonna say. I thought when we took the hats off, we kind of.
Hats off. All right. So, anyways, so basically he says, is our friendship real? And then she said, nope, not anymore, which is very rude.
It's hurtful.
Very hurtful. And then Becky explains that people wanted to fight and she wasn't in the fight. She feels Kevin used her as a scapegoat to represent something. Do you agree?
No. No, the guy was 29 years later. He's fighting for the cause.
A lot more.
He's the real deal when it comes to what he feels.
Right.
And, I mean, you don't spend 29 years to wait to get to see Becky again and then have a legitimate platform to work from now that I got a so-called maybe could be possibly a racist.
Yeah, he's been writing books. He's been
got like
speaking and he's
books
best friends with Tupac. Who gives a French
he
about
knows
Becky?
Obama and
He's been talking to Obama since he was born.
Shoot.
Anyways.
Plus, I don't know if that's true, y'all. So
no, that's not true.
Don't quote me.
But anyways,
Okay.
so what's left of the roommates? So
Okay.
basically everybody, minus Becky, sit with Eric and Norman, and they say that or Norman, he says that he feels bad that she was put on the spot. And Eric says they all knew what they were getting into, and it's up to them to control their own emotions.
Now that was a real grown-up thing to say, because actually in real life, even like, I can just, if you don't mind me getting a little personal, when you lost or left your career and being an optician, you could let that be like something that crushed you. And that you could have said, what am I going to do? I got to do a house and oh my God, I'm going to die. But instead you took those lemons and you made some really good lemonade. And then you made yours pink lemonade because you're triracial. And so, and you're pinky. And so, but the neat thing was that you could have internalized everybody. She picked on me and look what she did to my life. And this is what she did to me.
And I'm not going to say that I didn't inside, but
did you want to go?
I didn't want to.
Did the black side of you want to cut her a little bit?
A little bit, okay. But no, but I didn't want to let that
in the dark house.
I didn't want to let that take over my shit, because what
your existence, she doesn't, she's nothing.
She's not thinking about my ass, obviously.
Right.
So
yeah.
And
so like what Eric said too, we can't allow, even their friendship should not be ruined if they had one.
So that being said, Mom, every week we end it with for our love for Heather B, we end it with what we knew before we walked in, what we knew, and then what we learned. So what did you
Okay.
know when you first walked in, like before we recorded?
Okay. About Heather or just about the show?
Just in general, like
Okay.
in
What I
life.
knew before, and before you even, when you first told me or asked me if I'd be a part of it, I just remember that it was one of the first reality shows that I didn't like.
Okay.
Okay. I did not like just the concept, but I didn't like rap music either. And I mean, when that came out, I thought that was just a little, it's going to come on. It'd be like, like Donald Trump said, COVID is going to be gone in 2 weeks. I thought reality
It's like a little
TV,
phase.
reality TV will be gone in 2 weeks, just like rap music be gone in a month. So I was wrong about all of it. So that's why I was open to like check it out, because now I'm older, you're older. And my concern was, I believe I wanted to shelter you from any real stories that might taint or maybe make you jaded if you hear somebody else's experience before you get to that age, if that makes sense.
I understand that.
So what I learned is that people do grow and they can transform it and make transitions, and those that don't or has more problems with it, it's not so much as them being a butthead, but I just feel sorry for them because they're not able to really absorb all of the real things around them. It's just, if you don't look outside your own interests, your own pictures, your own selfies, yeah,
Just your own
Yeah.
bubble. Yeah.
So I learned that in this group, that is 6, 7 out of 7 sound like they really have grown a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not saying any names, but
yeah, so when I first came into this episode, I knew that we were going to record together, which is going to be something I never done.
definitely.
So that
Big
was
fun though.
no, yeah, I was not like nervous. I was like kind of excited about it.
Yes.
So what I learned is, yeah, I guess just like I know, like I already knew this, but like it's kind of reiterated, just kind of meeting people where they are. Not like trying to fight on like how people feel about certain things.
Yeah.
Because you can't really
don't make a fight out
fight
of it.
that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So you just be like, okay, that's how you feel.
It's
how
like
I
a
feel.
serenity prayer, It's like, God grant me the wisdom on when, if I can't change something, to accept it.
Yes.
And that's what you do when you're dealing like with your people in public and retail and even at the comedy place now. You're not going to agree with everybody's existence in your space. But while they're there, you have to tolerate each other and respect each other.
Yeah.
And have empathy for anybody who might be in pain. And pain could mean a lot of different things. So
Definitely.
Thank you so much for
So
allowing me
thank
to
you,
be
Mom.
here.
Such
I'm
good advice.
sorry.
You're
I
the
was getting
best.
tired.
And wait, should we sing a song?
Oh.
And I will love.
I thought
Okay.
we was gonna sing this one. I'm so glad we had this time.
What is that?
Together, just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes time to have to say good night. Did you say good night?
Good night. I don't know what that's from.
It's from Carol Burnett,
Oh,
1962.
1962.